I was in my sophomore class at Tennessee State University. I'd already been working.
Oprah Winfrey did not simply become a television icon. She became a cultural presence that reshaped how stories were told and received. For decades, her voice carried into homes across continents, offering connection, honesty, and empathy at a scale never seen before in daytime television. She built a space where people felt safe to speak openly, where vulnerability was not weakness but strength. Her influence reached far beyond ratings or awards, touching the emotional lives of millions who saw in her not perfection but understanding. The world often celebrates her success in numbers and titles, yet her true impact lives in something less measurable: the trust she earned and the conversation she changed forever. Roots in a fragmented beginning. Born on January 29, 1954, in Kosciuszko, Mississippi, Oprah Gail Winfrey entered a world marked by separation and instability. Her parents were young and unmarried, and her earliest years unfolded across fractured households where consistency was rare. She spent her early childhood living with her grandmother on a rural farm, where life was shaped by poverty and responsibility arrived far too early. Yet amid scarcity, something remarkable emerged: a deep connection to language. Learning to read at an unusually young age, Oprah found in words a sense of order and possibility. Language became her refuge, offering structure when her surroundings did not. Learning dignity without comfort. Life on the rural farm where Oprah spent her earliest years demanded strength long before she understood the word. Days followed a strict rhythm shaped by responsibility rather than play, and comfort was something rarely discussed, let alone expected. Clothing was limited, resources were few, and every necessity carried weight. Yet within those constraints, something quietly powerful took root. Without material ease to lean on, Oprah learned to build a sense of worth from within, discovering that dignity did not depend on appearance or possessions. These early experiences taught her self-respect through necessity, not instruction. She learned to stand firmly in who she was, even when the world offered little reassurance. Though those years were challenging, they didn't narrow her future. Instead, they widened her understanding of people who live unseen, carrying quiet struggles without recognition. Poverty did not define her boundaries, but it sharpened her empathy and awareness, shaping a woman who would one day speak about dignity, not as an abstract idea, but as a lived truth. Searching for stability. At the age of 6, Oprah moved to Milwaukee to live with her mother, carrying with her the hope that change would bring security. Instead, the environment introduced a different kind of uncertainty. Long work hours meant frequent solitude, and the absence of consistent guidance left her navigating emotions she was not yet equipped to name. Stability remained elusive, and the sense of protection she longed for felt distant. These years were confusing and emotionally heavy, marked by moments of isolation that did not always align with the busy world around her. Oprah has often reflected on this chapter with honesty rather than resentment, acknowledging how deeply it shaped her understanding of vulnerability and environment. It was during this time that she learned how loneliness can exist, even in the presence of others, and how safety is not merely about location, but about feeling seen and supported. These experiences quietly deepened her sensitivity to emotional landscapes, a skill that would later define her connection with others. A turning point in Nashville. Oprah's move to Nashville as a teenager marked a meaningful shift in the direction of her life. Living with her father, Vernon Winfrey, introduced a structure she had rarely experienced. His household operated on clear expectations accountability, and a firm belief in education. While the discipline was challenging at first, it offered something invaluable: consistency. For the first time, effort was directly connected to outcome, and potential was not only noticed, but encouraged. Academic focus became a priority, and Oprah began to see herself not as someone shaped solely by circumstance, but as someone capable of shaping her own future. Under her father's guidance, confidence slowly replaced uncertainty. The environment did not erase past difficulties, but it provided tools to move forward with purpose. This period became a foundation for self-belief, transforming survival into direction and planting the idea that her life could be guided by intention rather than reaction. Discovering her voice. During her teenage years, Oprah's ability to communicate with clarity and emotional depth began to draw attention. Public speaking and debate offered spaces where her thoughts could take form, and her voice could be heard. She discovered that words were not just tools for expression, but instruments of connection. Winning a local beauty pageant was less about appearance and more about access, providing scholarship support and exposure to broader opportunities. These moments affirmed that her voice carried value and that storytelling could bridge personal experience with shared understanding. Each achievement reinforced the idea that communication was not simply a skill, but a calling. Rather than seeking attention, Oprah sought meaning, and audiences responded to the sincerity she brought to every exchange. This growing confidence in her voice became a turning point, revealing that her experiences, when spoken with honesty, had the power to resonate far beyond herself. Entering broadcasting. While still pursuing her education, Oprah began working in radio, learning to balance demanding schedules with academic responsibility. The work was modest, and financial certainty remained out of reach, but the microphone felt natural in her hands. Broadcasting offered a familiar rhythm, the opportunity to listen, to speak, and to connect. Her early television roles soon followed, and at just 19 years old, she became the youngest news anchor at a Nashville station. The achievement was historic, yet the environment came with rigid expectations that did not always accommodate her warmth or conversational style. Traditional broadcasting valued distance and restraint, qualities that conflicted with her instinct for openness. Though the setting was not always comfortable, the experience was formative. It taught her discipline, adaptability, and the importance of authenticity, even within systems that resist it. These early years laid the groundwork for a career defined not by conformity, but by connection. Finding her own style. When Oprah relocated to Baltimore to co-host a local talk show, a noticeable shift occurred. Removed from the strict framework of traditional news, she found room to be herself. Conversations replaced scripts, curiosity replaced detachment, and empathy guided each exchange. Audiences responded immediately, drawn not to perfection, but presence. Oprah listened deeply, asked thoughtful questions, and allowed emotion to exist without apology. What once seemed like professional weaknesses became defining strengths. Her interviews felt human, grounded in genuine interest rather than performance. This approach created trust, setting her apart in a landscape that often prioritized form over feeling. In Baltimore, Oprah did not reinvent herself, she revealed herself. By embracing authenticity, she discovered that her greatest influence came not from authority, but from understanding, a realization that would shape everything that followed. The Chicago Opportunity. In 1984, Oprah Winfrey arrived in Chicago at a moment when expectations were modest and the odds were quietly against her. The morning program she was asked to host sat at the bottom of the ratings, burdened by low visibility and little public confidence. Rather than attempting to overhaul it with spectacle, Oprah did something far simpler and far more effective. She brought herself fully into the space. She spoke with honesty, listened with intention, and allowed conversations to unfold without force. Viewers sensed the difference almost immediately. The show began to feel less like a broadcast and more like a gathering, a place where real stories were welcomed rather than managed. Within months, audience numbers rose steadily, reflecting a growing trust between host and viewer. The transformation was undeniable, and the program soon took on a new identity as The Oprah Winfrey Show, expanding into national syndication. What began as a professional risk quietly became the foundation of a cultural shift, rooted not in strategy, but in sincerity. A cultural phenomenon. Over the next 25 seasons, The Oprah Winfrey Show became more than a successful television program. It became part of the social fabric. Airing in households across the world, it created a shared space for conversation at a time when such openness was rare in daytime media. The topics Oprah explored moved fluidly between personal reflection and collective concern, addressing growth, grief, injustice, healing, and hope with equal care. She did not speak down to her audience or position herself as an authority removed from experience. Instead, she sat alongside her guests, asking questions many people carried but rarely voiced. This approach fostered trust, allowing viewers to feel seen rather than instructed. Her balance of empathy and accountability reshaped the talk show format, influencing how stories were told and who was invited to tell them. The show's legacy rests not in its longevity alone, but in its ability to normalize honest dialogue and human complexity on a global scale. The weight of responsibility. As Oprah's influence expanded, so did the weight of expectation placed upon her. Millions looked to her not only for conversation, but for reassurance, insight, and moral clarity. Carrying that responsibility day after day required emotional endurance few could see. Oprah has spoken candidly about the exhaustion that accompanied constant visibility and the difficulty of setting boundaries when so many depended on her presence. Behind the scenes, the work was relentless. Long hours, careful preparation, and an unwavering commitment to consistency. She understood that trust once built must be maintained with care, yet the role also demanded reflection, reminding her that giving endlessly without replenishment could lead to imbalance. This period of her life revealed an essential truth. Influence carries obligation, but sustainability requires self-awareness. Learning to honor her own limits became as important as honoring the audience she served. Building independence. Determined to shape her work according to her values, Oprah founded Harpo Productions, stepping into a role few women in television had occupied before: full ownership. This decision marked a shift from performer to architect, granting her creative and financial independence. Through Harpo, she expanded into film, publishing, and talent development, opening doors for stories and voices that might otherwise have remained unheard. Ownership allowed her to choose projects aligned with purpose rather than pressure, ensuring that growth did not come at the expense of integrity. The company became an extension of her philosophy that media could inform, uplift, and challenge without losing compassion. By building her own infrastructure, Oprah secured not only control over her work, but the freedom to evolve on her own terms, redefining what leadership in entertainment could look like. Risk and reinvention. Not every step in Oprah's journey unfolded smoothly. Creative exploration inevitably brought moments of uncertainty, and some ventures were met with mixed response. Rather than viewing these outcomes as failures, Oprah treated them as opportunities for reflection. She reassessed, adjusted, and continued forward with humility. These experiences reinforced a belief she has often shared, that growth requires risk, and risk carries no guarantees. What matters is not the absence of disappointment, but the willingness to learn and remain open. Each challenge refined her understanding of herself and her audience, reminding her that reinvention is not a single moment, but an ongoing process. Through patience and clarity, she demonstrated that resilience is built through responsiveness rather than resistance. The transition from daily television. When The Oprah Winfrey Show concluded in 2011, it marked the close of a defining chapter. Stepping away from daily television brought both relief and uncertainty, as a familiar rhythm gave way to open possibility. Oprah chose not to replace one routine with another, but to explore new forms of expression. She turned toward long-form storytelling, reflective conversations, and leadership development, allowing space for depth rather than frequency. The transition required patience, as new ventures took time to establish their voice. Yet in leaving the familiar behind, she gained the freedom to redefine success beyond schedule or ratings. This period reflected a shift from presence by obligation to presence by intention, affirming that evolution often begins when one is willing to let go. Continuing influence. Even after stepping away from the daily rhythm of television, Oprah Winfrey remained a steady and respected presence in global conversation. Through carefully chosen partnerships, interviews, and long-form discussions, her voice continued to shape dialogue without overwhelming it. She demonstrated that influence does not depend on constant visibility, but on clarity and intention. By choosing depth over frequency, she allowed each appearance to carry meaning rather than momentum. Her questions remained thoughtful, her listening attentive, and her ability to hold space for complexity unchanged. This phase of her life reflected a quiet confidence, an understanding that leadership evolves with time, and that presence becomes more powerful when it is deliberate. Oprah's continued relevance did not come from maintaining dominance, but from maintaining authenticity, showing that true influence matures rather than expands endlessly. Relationships and choice. Oprah's personal life has been guided by thoughtful independence and self-awareness rather than convention. Her long-standing partnership with Stedman Graham has endured through mutual respect, shared values, and a commitment to autonomy. Choosing not to marry or have children was not a rejection of tradition, but an affirmation of knowing herself deeply. Oprah has spoken openly about honoring her capacity, understanding her emotional bandwidth, and making choices aligned with her truth. In doing so, she challenged narrow definitions of fulfillment and success, offering a broader perspective on what a meaningful life can look like. Her approach to relationships reflects intentionality rather than absence, showing that purpose and connection take many forms, each deserving of respect. By living in alignment with her values, she demonstrated that personal clarity is a form of strength, not limitation. Health and self-care. Throughout her life, Oprah has approached health with honesty rather than perfection. She's acknowledged challenges, adjustments, and moments of learning, choosing transparency over image. Rather than presenting wellness as a destination, she framed it as an ongoing practice, one that requires listening, patience, and compassion toward oneself. This openness resonated with many who recognized their own journeys reflected in hers. Oprah's willingness to speak candidly about balance, routine, and care reinforced the idea that health is not about control, but about awareness. Over time, self-care became less about transformation and more about maintenance, understanding that longevity is built through consistency rather than extremes. Her approach offered a grounded reminder that well-being is personal, evolving, and worthy of attention at every stage of life. A life of intentional living. In recent years, Oprah has embraced a quieter, more deliberate rhythm of life. Choosing environments that encourage peace and reflection, she stepped further away from constant public scrutiny. This phase was not a retreat, but an evolution, an opportunity to live inwardly after decades of outward focus. Wellness, creativity, and meaningful relationships became central, allowing space for renewal and clarity. She approached this chapter with gratitude rather than urgency, recognizing that rest can be as purposeful as action. Intentional living became a guiding principle, shaping how she spent her time, energy, and attention. This stage reflected maturity and self-trust, affirming that fulfillment deepens when life is aligned with values rather than demands. Legacy beyond fame. Oprah Winfrey's legacy extends far beyond television milestones or financial achievement. It lives in the conversations she normalized, the empathy she modeled, and the courage she showed by living openly. She reshaped media by centering humanity, transforming pain into understanding and influence into responsibility. Her willingness to be herself publicly, without perfection or pretense, offered permission for others to do the same. Oprah's impact is not measured solely by reach, but by resonance, by the countless individuals who felt seen, heard, or inspired through her work. Her legacy is one of presence, compassion, and integrity, reminding the world that leadership rooted in empathy has enduring power. Enduring impact. From a childhood shaped by uncertainty to a life defined by intention, Oprah Winfrey's journey reflects the transformative power of voice, choice, and compassion. She did not rise by denying her past, but by understanding it, allowing experience to become wisdom rather than weight. Through reflection, resilience, and authenticity, she built a life guided by purpose rather than expectation. Her influence endures not because she was flawless, but because she was real, willing to grow, listen, and evolve. Oprah's story offers a blueprint for living with clarity and heart, showing that true impact is sustained not by visibility alone, but by meaning carried forward with intention.